My name is Mitch Ziegler. I'm the physical therapist at Arbor University of Physical Therapy. Today we're going to go over a mobilization for a very interesting joint in the body. It's called the sternoclavicular joint, or we call it the SC joint. Now when we look at the shoulder, we think of the shoulders attached to the body through joints, and it's really not. The only joint that attaches the whole shoulder, girdle, the glenohumeral joint, all this is this little joint right here called the sternoclavicular joint. And this joint can get dysfunctional quite often. So we're going to show you how to mobilize it at home. The reason you're watching this video is your therapist has already showed you to mobilize this, so we're just going to show you the home mobilizations as reinforcement. Now we're going to go into the mobilization for this joint. So remember, this bone here, or this joint here, called the sternoclavicular joint. So we're going to follow this collarbone, the clavicle, the collarbone, all the way to the end. And when you get to the end of it, you'll feel a raise in the bone. That's how you know you're at the end of it. And then if you know you're not on it, you'll fall off this bone and you'll fall onto the sternum, onto the breastbone. So you're going to follow that bone over until you feel it start to get thicker, and you feel the end of it, and then you're going to fall off of it. You know you went too far, so go back on the top of the end of the bone. Then you're going to go onto the top of that bone. So you're going to roll to go to the end, roll to the top of it, and your fingers need to be on top of this bone here. Once your fingers are there, you're going to raise your arm up straight to the side, not in the front, but straight to the side, and you're going to pull downward with your two fingers as you raise up. You're going to bring your elbow back, and you're going to hold that pressure down. As your elbow comes down, just come down to about shoulder height with your elbow, raise up again, pull that bone down, and keep pressure on that bone. Let your elbow come down, keep pressure on the bone, raise your arm up, pull down more, keep that same pressure on. So each time you're not letting the bone go back up, you're pulling it down further each time, okay? You're gonna do 10 of these pull downs and bring your elbow down. Do 10 of these exercises, or 10 of these mobilizations, and that's what we're gonna, and you're just gonna do those 10, and that'll mobilize this bone here in a downward direction, and that's what needs to happen when you raise your arm above your head. Sometimes when you raise your arm above your head, you can get shoulder pain, and believe it or not, it can come from this joint not working correctly. The next one we're going to go over, same thing. You're going to palpate to the end here, but when you put your hand in front of you, this bone actually slides backwards towards your throat. So I'm going to show you how to mobilize that. So again, you palpate to the very end. This time you're not sliding on top, you're staying right on the front part of it. So as your hand comes forward, you're going to bring your hand forward and you're going to push backwards on the end of that clavicle, push backwards with your fingers, and then you're going to release. Push backwards with your fingers. And actually I'm going to have you hold that bone back as your hand comes back. Hold that bone back, push forward, push that bone back, keep it back there. Push your hand out, push that bone back further, keep it back there. Push your hand out, push that bone back further, keep it there. And you're going to repeat that 10 times. And lastly, what we're going to do, the bone also, this end of the clavicle can move in an anterior direction, and it does that when you reach your hand behind you. So sometimes when you reach your hand behind you like this, you may have pain on the top of your shoulder, pain maybe even this joint here. So we're going to show you how to mobilize that. So you're going to take your fingers, go right to the end of the clavicle like we did before. We're going to go to the top part like we did before, but now we're going to wrap around a little bit. So we're going to wrap our fingers as far around to the back side of the bone as we can get. We're going to wrap it around to the back. Then what you're going to do is you're going to pull your hand backwards, and you're going to pull with your fingers in a forward direction, okay? So I'm putting my hand backwards, and I'm pulling that bone forward, and I'm going to keep it forward, let my hand come back, pull that hand back, pull that bone more forward, keep it forward, don't release the tension on it, and each time I bring my hand back, I'm pulling that clavicle bone even more forward, okay? So what it looks like on Mr. Bones is I'm wrapping around. As he reaches back with his arm, I'm pulling in this direction, and when he comes back, I'm still pulling in that forward direction, pull back, pull forward, so I'm keeping that constant forward pressure on as I'm reaching my hand back. So that's 3 ways to mobilize the AC joint. To mobilize it so it goes backwards, to mobilize it so it goes downwards, and to mobilize it so it comes forward. Thank you very much for watching the video.